the misinterpretation of when I teach guys about like early arm raise is the whole dynamic of, well, aren't we supposed to get our arm out on time and have it more, have more time for us to get into positions? Absolutely. But you see a lot of guys that struggle with, and I'm not saying you're in this category because obviously you don't struggle with velocity, but there's a lot of power output to be had if we can delay that arm into that exact moment in which our hips are then internally rotating. So if you think about it in the kinetic sequence, so the ground force from the backside is being held, right? So this is kind of that clip, and I know you can't see the arm in this clip, but essentially when he descends, right? So when he enters his drive phase, there's a moment in which that drive leg is stalling, which is that holding of that force, right? So that's that drive leg stability we talk about. And then notice how it's a delay in hip rotation, but it's a delay in the sense of the arm is also delaying. So as soon as it comes time for that arm to now come up, that's when the timing of that internal rotation and the hand then getting up. So like if you can picture, I don't even know what you would picture, but just the kinetic sequencing of everything kind of going up the chain and coming through the fingertips as it begins time to now go into ball release. So with you, and again, I know it's flat ground and you're even throwing a curveball here, so it could be different. You'll have to self-assess that on your own, but just notice how many frames before, like, so for example, this is like the position. I know you're a little obtuse elbow right here, but the position of elbow below the shoulder, hand above the elbow and the shoulder, that kind of what I would call like that power position. That's the position we kind of want to be in with a 45 degree as soon as our front foot touches down. So you'll kind of notice you're like 3, 4, 5, 6, so 6 frames ahead of that. So I think, and this is why I said I think the direction that I want to take us is going to be more, how can we get that arm path almost simplified in terms. I have a package outlined called arm path simplification because I think a lot of guys mistime the sequence. Hold force, there's that delay. Now the arm comes up and swings in turn with full hip internal rotation. So you're going to notice internal rotation and then retraction kind of occurring at the same time. Boom, there it is. And then notice how he's touched down. So that's, and it's tough, right? Because it's like I struggle with this because it's not necessarily something that you can teach. I think a lot of it has to do with just natural athleticism. But so this 3 frame sequence. So 1, 2, 3. That is what I'm super passionate about because you're generating so much whip with your arm because you're almost the arm's like tricking the body in the sense of like, or the body's tricking the arm saying, hey, we have to speed up as fast as we can now because we're going to get into a pattern of being hurt if we don't speed up, right? Because we don't want to land and then be down, right? We talk about that inverted W. So it's like the body's way of almost tricking the arm. I did a breakdown on Nate Pearson about how he kind of delays that arm separation, that hand separation, to almost trick himself into then speeding up that arm from this point to this point. Just watch how quick Kershaw gets from down, right, to up and then rotate. So like that sequencing of everything occurring at once, you're just maximizing that energy plane.